The San Jose Barracuda lose 6-3 in their opening matchup against the Colorado Eagles. We're going to break it down right now on Teal Town After Dark. Meh. But of course, if you want to be, oh no, that's the wrong one. Of course, if you want to be part of the show, hit us up on all the social media platforms. You can leave us a super chat if you are so inclined. Have fun with us in the chat. If you're watching this late, leave us a comment. You know how this goes by now. Let's get this going. It is me. It is Puckguy. It is Kevin Lacey. We are here on Teal Town After Dark. What is going on?
Good evening to you, Ian. This was probably, and Kevin, I'll come to you with this. You've been in this barn a lot more than I have, and this is probably the easily the loudest it's ever been, and what an atmosphere this place can be.
Fantastic atmosphere tonight. I mean, right off the gate, chants galore. People just excited, wanting to cheer on the Barracuda. Barracuda really were fed off of that, no pun intended. We're really fed off of that noise in the first period. Like, they were really going out and just laying players out left and right. That's what you need to do. The Barracuda, no doubt, are the underdog in this series, and come out and try and make an impact right off the bat.
Your mic's cutting in and out.
Strong, and it just got the crowd even more invigorated.
Gotcha. My mic or his mic?
Kevin's.
Yours was cutting in and out a little bit. Just make sure the bottom was okay. This crowd was incredible. Easily a sellout. 4,200 plus on hand. And Ian, and tell me if I'm wrong, dude. If was this looked like Barracuda had them having in their own zone early on, and it just seemed like it was the CUDA for the taking, and then Colorado scores that goal, about the first period, and then it just kind of started to unravel from there.
Yeah, I don't think, as far as Barracuda games go this year, I don't think that they played a particularly bad game for them. I thought this was a decent game for them. The problem was the mistakes. The Colorado Eagles took advantage of every mistake the Barracuda made, and the Eagles could, and the Barracuda basically couldn't do the same to the Eagles for most of the game. That's kind of my broad strokes thoughts so far.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You were saying the first goal of the game was kind of like their best one?
Yeah, I thought that was a really strong play. Colorado started to take control in the second half of the first period, and I didn't think that Barracuda played poorly at really any point of the first period, but a very nice pass by Jason Megna from the left corner to Callie Rosen, who was coming in from the right point. Callie Rosen, a veteran defenseman. A lot of veteran players on this Eagles team. I honestly want to see get a lineup check on that roster for the amount of veterans that they are considering. I think Oscar Olausen and Ivan, that's a real name, by the way, Ivan. I think they're their only players under 23, it feels like. But nevertheless, Callie Rosen coming in, real nice shot. As soon as that pass came in from Megna, I knew it was all over, and that made it 1-0 Colorado.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they were in a struggle from that, but they end up getting those penalties, and the penalties, just really reaped them in, especially that 4-minute one. Although, I will give kudos and
kudos.
Oh,
remember what show we're having here?
Kudos. All right, my bad.
All right, we'll work on that, folks.
Okay, but yes, they give a goal to Chris Wagner, but the CUDA had, Ian, they had so many chances shorthanded too, and I'm glad Beasta got one of them, because I mean, I'm glad this place is new because I felt like the roof was going to come off for that first
I'm
goal.
glad that Philip Biestedt scored that goal because I had no voice after 20 minutes, probably had no voice after 10 minutes, and I needed that half-price beer very badly. Otherwise, I would not be able to do this show right now. So thank you, Philip Biestedt, for honestly, Ian, I'm not going to lie. I thought Philip Biestedt had a really poor game, but he did get that
Aside from
nice
the goal.
shorthanded breakaway goal. One of many shorthanded breakaways that the Barracuda had tonight, but Biestedt was the one to capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem, right? I mean, like they don't have Thomas Bordeleau, and I think not having Thomas Bordeleau is going to hurt them in this series if they can't get him back soon. Because I think Philip Biestedt, like, I agree. I don't think this was his strongest game. I mean, obviously the goal is good, and I don't want to take anything away from him for the goal, um, but man, like this team needs Thomas Bordeleau back so badly.
And the same thing with Podorowski too. If they can
Yeah,
get
but that's never
that's a tough
happened,
one.
right? Like, but we know that Podorowski, like, he's probably not playing in this series, whereas Bordeleau is a lot closer to coming back.
True.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, look, would having Podorowski back be great? It would be great, but it's not real. Getting Bordeleau back is a thing that can actually happen.
That's a good comment for net for
Yeah. Kevin was mentioning on the comment in the chat. The CUDA had fantastic chances, but several times failed to capitalize, such as not taking a shot fast enough on a break, not capitalizing on chances, and what really killed them. Ian,
Yeah.
wouldn't you say that they seemed a little nervous in this game?
I think a
Once
little
everything
bit to
settled
start,
down?
right? Like I
Yeah.
look at it, it's the arena's going crazy. There's a lot going on. I don't think a lot of people are giving the Colorado Eagles giving the Barracuda a lot of chance against this team. Again, this team is the best team. It's not only the best team in the Pacific Division, it's the best team in the Western Conference. And they're that for a reason. So I think that, yeah, I think they're obviously, like, they're probably, I think the energy in the building, plus again, you're playing a team that, you have had a little bit of success, but they've had far more success against you. I saw it, AJ in the comment. He says, if Bordeleau is the key, the CUDA are screwed. But here's the problem, right? Look at the one thing that this Barracuda team doesn't really have is center depth. They don't have depth down the middle. So you have Philip Biestedt playing up higher than you probably want him to.
Yeah.
Like, I think getting Bordeleau back helps. I think with matchups. I think he gives you a little bit more on the power play. It's with Podorowski also gone. I mean, that center depth is pretty brutal.
The center depth. The center depth was a huge key, but depth overall, I think, was key. But you wanted to point out something.
Yeah,
earlier.
kind of in that same vein. I mentioned that Colorado really ices a veteran leadership here on their roster, and ever so in their top six. Look at the Barracuda forwards tonight. Like we mentioned, or we haven't mentioned Daniil Gushchin, but I saw some comments in the chat about Thomas Bordeleau, who's out injured right now. The center depth is really hurting, but most of the top six for the Barracuda, they're playing in their first playoffs here this year versus all of Colorado's top six, probably their top nine, are all AHL veterans with several years of playoff experience. It is a huge contrast. And so the Barracuda, they're getting their feet wet, and that's what we want to see in this organization, is getting some playoff experience. But here in game one, you got adjusted to how this Colorado team is a force. Game two, the Barracuda need to come out and say, hey, we're a playoff team too, and we are not going to get pushed around. So I want to see more out of the top six. I thought the bottom line of Vincent, Van Roboys, and Sabrin did exactly what they always do, but the top six needs to establish themselves more. Too many turnovers. That's why I said I thought Philip Biestedt was one of the worst players on the team tonight. Philip Biestedt, one of the few centers you could say is part of the center depth at this moment. Too many turnovers tonight. But Patrick Giles, I thought, was leaps and bounds the best player on this team. He was an absolute monster.
Yeah, I like Giles. I think he's been really good. I mean, since coming over, it's funny how like some of these guys that didn't really make an impact
Oh, that
on the
gate just
big club have
closed.
come
I'm gonna need to head
down to the
outside.
Sharks, and then went back down to the Barracuda, and
So
and
we
I
should get
think
to
they
the
went
front
really good.
here.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where maybe the experience comes into play, and they can attribute to not playing, over a week and a half. And I mean, I'll come to you first, Bud, because we were talking about, and Ian, feel free to chime in, but we were talking about the rest versus rest for Colorado having basically a week and a half, 2 weeks off. But I mean, yeah, they've been
Barracuda
through
had
this
a
before.
huge
They've been
layover
through
too,
this
though.
Yeah, and
before,
that's
and
true. They had, and the Barracuda had like what, 6 days
the
off.
Barracuda have had about a week off to recover. I mean, Daniil Gushchin, I did not think played a strong game tonight, but this was his first game of the playoffs ever. So he is, a couple games behind the rest of the roster. I can't believe Donovan Hull played, by the way. What a gutsy effort on his part. But I would like to actually see a player like Chernyshov come into the lineup, bring a little bit more skill to counter against the skill that Colorado brings. I thought the Barracuda did a really good job of neutralizing Jacob McDonald tonight. I did not think he was an offensive threat whatsoever with his 31 regular season goals. But nevertheless, there is room for improvement, and we hope that the coaching staff makes the changes. I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but Kyle Hagel, during the timeout, once the Barracuda got themselves back to within a goal in this game, Kyle Hagel was trying to light a fire in them. I've never seen any coach on this Barracuda coaching staff show so much emotion as Kyle Hagel did during that timeout. And he was really trying to inspire them. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. But again, those are the types of lessons that the young Barracuda can take going into game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting because I think that's like something obviously like a lot of people, I think the big chat like just on social media from what I saw was like why aren't Chernyshov and Musty playing? I mean, for me, I go back to the last games that the Barracuda play. I don't Again, I think look at these guys are going to be a big part of this team going forward, especially I think Quentin Musty. I have a feeling Chernyshyov's going to get every opportunity to be a Shark next year, but I think Quentin Musty is going to be a guy on this team going forward. But I just think it's when you hit the playoffs like this and you have guys join late, you have to guys have to earn their spots, right? And I don't think Quentin Musty did enough at the end of the season to break into the lineup. Would I be upset if they put him in? No, of course not. But I don't think there's a rush to put him in. But Chernyshev, I agree. Like Chernishev's a guy who, again, I don't think showed a ton in the last games of the Barracuda. But I think when you're looking at what this Colorado team brings and and how they play, I think Chernyshev would be a guy who would really help the Barracuda a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a little bit of a boost in all sorts of ways. I think to have the big tall guy come in and be a scoring such in Chernyshov. I mean, yeah, and like your point too, Musty would be nice to get in as well. But I mean, where are you going to put him?
Who do you take out to put him in? That's my question.
Yeah, that's the big question. I mean, who would you take out if you were to put one of those guys in?
I know that AJ highlighted the stat line for Donovan Hull, but even regardless of the stat line, you're playing an injured player right now, and he has been a warrior. I know I talked about it during our round 1 coverage here on Teal Town USA. If you missed that, please subscribe. But I think that Donovan
like
Hull,
a true company man. Thank you.
That's right. Donovan Hull, love the kid. Has played his butt off all season. Probably overachieved most of the season. But right now, when you're a huge underdog against the number 1 team in the Western Conference, you gotta bring your aces to the table, even if they're black aces. So I would put a player. I don't know if I would put both Musty and Chernyshov, given their lack of AHL experience. Again, I have said that Chernyshov has the KHL experience, so that's why I would give him the nod, even though I think Musty has the higher ceiling.
Same.
But I would put Chernyshov in front of Hull at this point, especially given Chernyshov's healthy and Hull is not.
Yeah. No, and I get putting him in, and I know JMac wants to reward the guys who have been here
As he should.
and get them in there, but maybe you need to use some support to get back into this. Well, but it remains to be seen. I mean, we still have one more game in San Jose, but I mean, you're flirting with disaster going down 0-2, going away for the next 3.
I want to just jump in real quick and say I'm not concerned about game 1 because here's the thing. We win game 1, fantastic. That's awesome. Everyone goes home happy tonight. What if we lose game 2? We have a disembodied voice here at TechCU Arena that has now taken over, but I don't know what's happening.
What happened to Amelia's voice there?
Yeah, Amelia. I know I lost my voice tonight, but Amelia, geez, all right. But what I was going to say was game 2, the Barracuda lose game 2 after winning game 1. That doesn't matter. Now you're going back to Colorado for 3 games on the road with no momentum on your side. So tonight 1 is a nice test for the Barracuda. They have to. There she is. Wait, that's Shaylin. That's Shaylin over there.
Well, we just got scared. I know. I will say. I know Amelia's mic kind of. I don't know, broke down when she was introducing the Cudas, with the starting lineup. So they might be doing
Wouldn't
that.
have happened to me. I'm just.
I just want to thank John for the super chat, $10 super chat. Go Cuda. Thanks, John. Obviously, super chats and things of the like help us keep the lights on. They keep they keep the lights on. There's no other way to put it. They pay for all the things that we do, so we don't have to pay, and that's awesome.
Appreciate you, John. Third period, I mean, nice couple of goals to get this thing really interesting. You get Graf with his second, and then you get Colin White with Askarov on the bench. I mean, it really got this place going again, and it's like the classic, like we always say, those are the teaser goals.
So I have a little bit of a bone to pick with that.
Oh no.
This is the part where Kevin gripes during the podcast
okay.
here.
So
Colin Kraft, no, you don't have to. It's gonna be quick. Colin Kraft scores that goal. Oh, geez, we're front and center now. Colin Kraft scores that goal, and the place, gets a little bit going. And then Colin White gets the goal to put the Barracuda within 1. The crowd is chanting minor, minor. What better way to absolutely kill the crowd than by playing music at full blast over everybody? We saw the same thing in the 2016 Stanley Cup playoffs, where every time the crowd tried to get into it, it was killed off by sound and motion. What are you guys doing? They were booths right next to me tonight. And so at that point, I started screaming at the DJ, like, listen to the crowd. Let the crowd be your sound in motion.
Oh my
God. When the Barracuda pull within 1, and this place is going probably the loudest it's been the entire night, if at least 2 hours, let us scream our heads off. This drives me insane, Eric.
I'm sorry.
I know. It's not your fault.
Hey,
but how many years? I mean, I know the
boy.
playoffs it's been a long time since this organization has made the playoffs, but this should not be rocket science. So that's my gripe for the night.
It's a good gripe.
I was just waiting for Sandstorm, but I digress.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, anywho. Oh,
I do
hello.
need to. Oh, wait.
You need to get over.
I was going to say I need to go until Dan Rusanowski suddenly shows up.
Gotcha. Hi, Ruzy. All right. Yeah. So, but I mean, 2 empty netters afterwards, guys,
that was a bummer.
and those were the bummer that sealed the deal for it and called it a night.
Hey, I know that familiar face. You
that
want to come on the
face
show?
Yeah. All right, we're getting a third.
We have a third member here, and he will take my microphone because I already got my gripe out of the way. Please welcome Nick Nollenberger.
Hello,
Nick.
everybody. What's going on? Look at this setup. This is the first time. Nice
Hello, bud.
backdrop. Hey, what's going on?
Good to see you.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Oh boy. All right. So Nick Nollenberger showing us. I mean, this do we call it the house that Nollenberger built?
Yeah, right.
But I mean, your first night here with this place and this. I mean, outside. I think obviously you would say with CUDA Classroom, this is probably one of the most loudest.
Yeah, I would say for sure. This is I would say the best atmosphere we've ever had.
Yeah.
Probably the best crowd too. I mean, we've had a few sellouts, but I think just bodies in seats tonight was the best we've ever had. What an atmosphere! So fun. We haven't had playoff hockey here in so long. We have not had playoff hockey in this building. I feel like this fan base, Sharks, Barracuda fans, they've been jonesing, right? They're itching. And, you know what,
Mike, but 6 years since the fans got to be in attendance for Barracuda playoff hockey.
You know what I've noticed too, and I don't know if you guys have it as fans. You know, with the Sharks this year, there's certainly a light at the end of the tunnel with all these young players. There seems to be a renewed kind of optimism within the organization, and I think it's trickled down with the Barracuda because there's so many good young players that hopefully will impact the Sharks in the very near future. So.
Yeah, definitely. And in the meantime, you learn from here, get your playoff experience because when they get up to the Sharks, that's time to take that next step for sure. Overall, your thoughts on tonight? I mean, I know you just got off the mic yourself, but tonight, I mean, ups and downs a little bit.
This is a very, very good Colorado team. I mean, we saw it in the third period, the way they're just able to kind of neutralize plays in the neutral zone specifically. The Barracuda, I mean, aside from kind of a fluky goal from Colin Graff that seemed to spark a little bit of a comeback, they had nothing working in that third. But I love their game in the first. They outshot them 12-6. I thought they had chances. Trent Miner made a huge save on Ethan Cardwell in that first period on the power play. You think if they score that goal, they have a 1-0 lead. Even in the second period, there was like the Barracuda were going to draw a power play. They didn't get the call. Then kind of, you know, we're going to call a ticky-tack call, and Luca Cagnoni leads to a power play. They score. It's a 2-0 lead. Then a double minor, which leads to a 3-0 lead. And this Colorado team's just too good. And you felt like even that second goal, is that going to be too much? And it ended up being so. So there's some things to clean up, but I think if you're the Barracuda, you've got to like a lot of the things you did, but they're going to have to find ways to capitalize on their chances.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to build off the momentum of having the crowd here, I think there were maybe some nerves a little bit, I would think, but I think going to get us up into the next level. I mean, we'll see. John, what are you saying? If Colorado is going to hang back that much with any kind of lead, would you make any lineup changes for Game 2? What would you say?
Well, it's going to be interesting. I think the Barracuda, they scored 3 goals tonight, but it does seem like they're struggling a little bit to generate offense, and we'll see what happens. You know, Andrew Podorowski, the MVP of the league, has not been available. You know, I don't think he's that close. We'll see if he ends up maybe getting in if the series goes 5 and it's to Sunday. It just doesn't seem that optimistic at this point. Does Thomas Bordeleau get healthy enough to play? Obviously got hurt in his one game with the Sharks. Played well defensively. Before this game in particular, they were outstanding defensively, but eventually you kind of feel like, where's the offense going to come from? Where do they start getting it going? And if they can capitalize on their chances, they're going to give themselves a lot better chance come Sunday. But I didn't mind their game tonight. It's just sometimes it's a bounce here or there, it's a call or a no call here or there, and that makes all the difference.
I'm not going to complain on the refs too much. But yeah, no, I think that's. What did you think of Askarov? I mean, I almost felt like the games in LA were kind of like neutral side of sorts, and now you come into this big crowd and might throw your optics off and everything. What did you think of Asky tonight?
Yeah, he was so good in those 2 games. Barracuda really stout defensively. One thing that Drew mentioned, and in talking to John McCarthy, the head coach, before tonight's game, he said a lot of the things that Colorado does is similar to what Ontario did. The difference is they're a little bit quicker, and we saw it tonight. That little extra jump to their game, the way they pressure. They don't have the biggest of forwards, but they're tenacious. I call them, they're almost like little water bugs out there. They're like little Wolverines. I mean, they're tenacious, they're tough, and they give it a hard time, and they seem to kind of wear the Barracuda down as the game continued along. So, it's a game of bounces. In terms of Askarov, we'll see come Sunday, but I think this team has a lot of confidence when he's in the net. I think they feel like they can beat anybody and want him trickle here. Collectively as a team, I think everybody can probably improve a little bit. One of the things tonight, again, not to ramble, but one of the things tonight I think the Barracuda lost was in front of the net. Not only in front of their own net, in front of the opposition's net. Colorado won those net front battles, and that was really, in my mind, one of the biggest differences in the game. So if you allow Asky to see more pucks come Sunday, you're going to give him a lot better chance to be successful. And it's a big game come Sunday because the Barracuda, they snapped, I think, a 9-game losing skid in Colorado back in April, so it's been a house of horrors. It's the best home team in the league during the regular season. They were a plus 60, I believe. So they need to win the game on Sunday, in my mind.
All right. Well, I'll let you go.
Okay.
You just did a boatload. You did your first home playoff game, and Just wanted to.
How did that feel to announcing?
That was amazing. Yeah, I mean, that was, I felt like I had some nerves and excitement going into the game, too. I mean, I mentioned it to Drew. This is kind of what they envisioned with this building. When this franchise first moved to California, they envisioned them having their own home eventually, and they envisioned it being an intimate, raucous atmosphere. And that's what tonight was. I mean, an incredible crowd. Kudos to all the fans who showed up, and we're expecting another great crowd on Sunday. But it just shows, I think, this fan base is just, they want to get back to playoff hockey, whether it's the American League or the NHL. This is a fan base that has seen a lot of great hockey postseason, and they're ready to get back to it. So expect another good one on Sunday.
Gotcha.
And another thing with that is that the longer Barracuda run goes, the more home games they have, more fans you can bring back season after season as well. Like, you're able to generate a larger fan base by having experiences like what we saw tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we always kind of talk about, I think as hockey fans, we say you go to a hockey game live, you're going to fall in love with it. But I think that's the same thing with the Barracuda. You come to one of these games, there isn't a bad seat in the house. The atmosphere is awesome. It's great for families. It's just a really cool way to watch a game. And this is some of the highest hockey you'll see in the world. It's the second highest level in the world. Yep. So it's a great way to take in a game. You're right on top of the players, and you get an atmosphere like this. This is going to be something that this franchise can build on in terms of players wanting to play here, in terms of long playoff success. It isn't just in a vacuum, right? Just one game. This, I think, is going to trickle, as you mentioned, into years to come with the fan base and with the players as well.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait for another full building. Nick, appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you can sneak in, but thanks, Nick. Appreciate you, but you want to sneak back over here, Kevin? Okay.
Sure, I can totally follow up Nick on
Yeah, no
this.
pressure.
Yeah,
no pressure
at
all.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that he gave us a few minutes of his time here. So.
Ian.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that. Okay.
That's fine.
But that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting him. I saw him walking around. I was like, uh-oh. Is he coming
Brody
up?
Brazil is right below us, too. So.
Brody, where are you at? No. Okay. Sorry. All right. But
let's wrap this game up here, though.
You need to get on it. You need to get on the train, right?
Need to get on out of here, but
Ian, what else you got in the chat going on?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
Well,
not a whole lot. Just people telling me like, hey,
say,
run the show properly.
I saw some comments in the chat about Yaroslav.
Don't sweat it.
I saw some comments in the chat about Yaroslav Skarov, and we mentioned it during round one about this needs to be his bounce back here after losing the net to Troy Grosnick in Milwaukee last year.
Friend of the podcast, Troy Grosnick.
That's right. And tonight was obviously not one of Askarov's better nights, but at the same time, you're going up again against the number one seed, and the defense certainly did not look the same as they did against Ontario. Not the same team, not the same preparation, but I really want to see more prep and more physicality out of the defense, because I do think that the Barracuda brought physicality tonight, but I thought it was mostly from the forwards. I think the defense, Ethan Fish had a real strong hit right at the start of the game. After that, I don't recall seeing any hits by any defenseman the rest of the night. So I expect more physicality out of the defense, the stronger play out of guys like Regenda, Ostapchuk, Beastet, etc. The Barracuda were decent tonight, but decent doesn't win you playoff games. So
I am completely like I need like Ostapchuk. I'm unimpressed. I continue to be 100% unimpressed by Ostapchuk. Period. Like, has there been anything, like, have you seen anything positive with his game? Because I am struggling.
So, I actually thought Ostapchuk had his best game of the playoffs so far, but I mean that was just middling. Because I thought Ostapchuk was pretty invisible in game 1 and 2 outside of penalties that he took, and he seemed like he toned down a little bit tonight, but that is absolutely not what we needed out of the Ostapchuk. I felt Giles was really carrying his line, or that line, the third line with Hull and then as I mentioned, Ostapchuk. But Ostapchuk needs to be more physical. He is one of the largest players on the ice, and it's just like what I used to complain about with Brandon Coe. You're 6'4". I think Ostapchuk's 6'3", but Coe 6'4". why doesn't he hit anybody ever? He's too gentle. And so Ostapchuk, I thought tonight, game one, way too many penalties, maybe too dialed in, too amped up. Game two, he dialed it back. This game, I thought he played a tempered game, too much on all aspects. So we do need to see more out of Zach Ostapchuk, because Fabian Zetterlund, obviously NHL player versus AHL player, but Fabian Zetterlund, the dog you need to win playoff games. So Ostapchuk needs to bring that same kind of intensity.
Yeah, fair. Fair. I don't know. I'm just thinking, because you're looking at obviously guys like possibly bringing guys into the lineup, taking guys out, and I'm like, I understand that like this is Mike Weir's pet guy right now, so he's fine. He's gonna play no matter what, but I don't know.
It is curious if Thomas Bordeleau comes back in, does a player like Ostapchuk draw out? I mean, someone's got to come out. Houle comes out, we'll say, for Chernyshov or whatever, for Bordeleau. But what if you take a couple of players out besides Houle? Who's the next one?
That's the big question to me. I'm mumbling. I'm not sure 100% as to who. You have a couple of guys in fish bowls tonight. I mean, that's obviously can't feel good. But you're not taking Cagnoni out unless he's super injured.
No.
But at the same time, you're right. Who can you?
So I'm the line to be a physical for be a big rat on the rink, right? Who didn't play tonight? Jake Furlong didn't play tonight. You know who got drawn into the lineup? Braden Hache, who's big and physical and can match the intensity of Colorado. Furlong has not been able to. Furlong was taken out of the lineup in favor of two players under AHL contracts. So Zach Ostapchuk should be looking at that going, if I'm not matching the intensity of a guy like Hache, I need to step it up. So yeah, I think you're right, Ian.
I mean, Ian's always right, but I mean,
whatever.
So I need to bounce out.
All right.
But thanks for having me.
All right.
I'm going to chase down. We can have another hour-long conversation. No. Yeah, we'll be back on Sunday night though. So I think it's already sold out. But if it's not, hey, remember my old line from the draft? What are you waiting for? Come on, buy your ticket now. So yeah, I hope to see you guys on Sunday. I never even made it out of my section tonight because there were just so many people who stopped to say hello. It was pretty awesome.
No.
So I will absolutely give you time if you want to say hi. But way more importantly, cheer on the Barracuda. It's been an awesome night. So thanks for having me.
Yep.
And
awesome.
Yep.
Very
Teal
nice.
bites back, buddy.
Very nice.
Appreciate it, Kevin. Thank you, bud.
absolutely.
Appreciate you. All right, Ian, you're stuck with me now. Sorry.
All right. I was gonna say we should probably start wrapping this a little bit. Cause, yeah.
I need to get home, and then there's the equipment still on Saturday too. and then we have Sunday, and then we have the draft water show on Monday.
Yeah.
So
Fun times. All right.
Yes.
I don't know. Anything else you want to get? You want to hit here? Or I think we've covered this game pretty good.
We've looked pretty good. I mean, I wonder. I've always wondered, and this is maybe something to talk about once the off season really hit for the CUDA. How much more of a CUDA will there need to be signed as opposed to Sharks that need to be signed as well? Because there's a number of kids that are going to be coming up, or at least planning to come up to play for maybe for the Sharks. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there's going to be it's going to be interesting, right? Because they're going to have to make a few decisions here. Obviously, like, you have guys like Mitchell Russell, Daniel Gushin, Brandon Coe, Thomas Bordeleau, right? All coming up on RFA. What do you think here? Who else do we got here for RFAs right now? Yeah, so I mean, like, you have a bunch of guys that are coming up RFAs, right? So I think it's going to be interesting to see how, like, what choices are going to be made there as far as like how that's going to go. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. Like, there's going to be some guys are not coming back.
Yeah. It's going to be our most intriguing offseason. So hit that subscribe button. We'll be around all summer long to break it on down for you. But yeah, Cuda lose this one 6-3. Big one on Sunday at
Big game
another
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Big game Sunday. Obviously, look at like big game Sunday. I think the Barracuda are gonna have to. They need to take one at home. They can't go to Colorado on death's door.
Yeah.
Because that's just not a great place to be. Like that Colorado building, like like TechCU was really loud tonight. It seemed like an awesome environment, but that's always the environment in Colorado. So it's not something that you want to go, basically needing to win every game to survive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, I think that but I think overall though, I think going into the next game, I think like the Barracuda, if they can just fine tune what they did tonight, and obviously I think a little bit of puck luck and a little better finishing. I mean, I think Nick Nollenberger kind of spelled it out. Like this could have been a totally different game if they didn't miss some opportunities early. I mean,
Yep.
we can talk about officiating, but AHL officiating's always been garbage. So I just feel like
Right.
we can talk about it, but this isn't new. This
Right.
is the AHL, like the officiating. The thing about officiating is that if you think the NHL officiating is bad, it just gets worse every level you go down.
Yeah.
And it's worse in junior, it's worse than college, and it's the further you go down, the worse it gets, I find.
I mean, those Pee Wee officials are awful, Ian. I mean, my gosh, those
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, I get you. And I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason why they're in the AHL. They're still learning themselves too. So
Yep.
So
All right. Let me get this the hell out of here.
take us home, bud.
All right. In case you missed this or you want to watch it again, please, you can hit us up on all the social media platforms. If you are watching on YouTube and you would like to listen to an audio version of this podcast, you can find it anywhere you get your audio podcasts. Just look for Teal Town USA, and you can always obviously find everything we do on tealtownusa.com. If you are watching on YouTube and you like what you saw today, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, now is a perfect time to do it. And if you would like to leave us a comment, if you're catching this after the fact and you're not watching this live, and you feel like we missed something, hit us up in the comments. And I try to respond. I read them all. I don't always respond, but I do read them all. So if you want to say something incredibly hurtful to me, that's the place to do it. Aside from that, though, yeah. Aside from that, though, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate everyone who supports the show, and we will see you on, I guess, Sunday after the game, right?
Correct, Amungo.
All right, Sunday after the game. See you then.